Good morning. This is Rinki Mulchandani from Dr. Ambedkar Institute of Management Studies and Research, Diksha Bhumi, Nagpur. Today, we are going to see the topic Law of Demand. Under this topic, we are going to look after the following contents as a statement of the law of demand, assumptions of the law of demand, demand schedule, demand curve, and exceptions to the law of demand. Now, the course object which is going to get fulfilled by this topic with the learning objectives as the students will be able to understand the statement of the law of demand. They will be able to know the assumption and exceptions to the law of demand. They will be also able to understand the demand schedule and the demand curve. Now, let's begin with the topic itself. The law of demand expresses the nature of functional relationship between the price of commodity and its quantity demanded. As we can see here, it simply states that demand changes inversely to the changes in price. That means demand for a commodity expands when price falls and contracts when price rises. This also means that the law of demand states that people will buy more at lower price and people will buy less at higher price, other things remaining the same. It is assumed that other determinants of demand are constant and only price is the variable and influencing factor. So the statement of the law of demand is, other things being equal, the quantity demanded of a commodity increases with a fall in price and diminishes when price rises. In our previous lecture, we have seen the determinants of demand, such as price of the commodity, price of related goods, advertisement, taste and preference, income of consumer, other factors, etc. Now, except price of the commodity, other factors are going to remain constant, while only the price is the variable and the influencing factor which we are going to consider with respect to the study of law. So, now moving towards the main assumptions. So, the assumptions of the law of demand are: number 1, consumer income remains unchanged. Number 2, taste and preference of consumer remains unchanged. Number 3, price of substitute goods and complementary goods remains unchanged. It means there will be no change in the price of substitute goods as well as complementary goods. There are no expectations of future changes in the price of. There will be no change in size and composition of population, no change in distribution of income, as well as there is no change in the fashion of commodity, etc. Now, the law can be explained with the help of a demand schedule and a corresponding demand curve. What exactly a demand schedule is? Demand schedule is basically a tabular representation or a chart which shows the different quantities of quantity demanded at different prices in a given period of time. It can be either individual demand schedule or market schedule. Individual demand schedule is basically a table which shows the different quantities of commodity that one particular consumer is willing to buy at different level of prices during a given period of time. Like in our previous video, we have seen Mr. Suraj's demand for sugar was 5 kgs per week at ₹20. This is the case, or this is the example belonging to the individual demand schedule. Whereas market demand schedule is a table showing different quantities of a commodity that all the consumers are willing to buy at different prices during a given period of time. Now here, as we can see in this table shows the demand schedule of an individual buyer. We can see the two variables which are inversely related to each other. First variable is the price of sugar, that is measured in rupees per kg, whereas quantity demanded per week kgs. So as we can see in this table, when the price is ₹20, the consumer demands 2 kgs of sugar per week. And as the price falls from ₹20 to 16, the quantity demanded increases from 2 kgs to 3 kg. Now what does it depicts, or what does this table shows? This table basically shows us that there is an inverse relationship between the price of the commodity and the quantity demanded. So this is the table which shows the demand schedule of an individual buyer. Now let's move towards the market demand schedule. Now, as I told you, in market demand schedule, all the consumers are willing to buy at different prices during a given period of time. So here we are referring with the two consumers. We are taking the example of two consumers, consumer A, consumer B. Now let us see how much quantity they are demanding at the price of sugar. So when the price is ₹1 per kg, consumer A is demanding 5 kgs, whereas consumer B is demanding 6 kgs. Now in order to calculate the market demand, we need to apply here the formula. That means we need to sum total of all the consumers who are going to buy the quantity of a commodity at different prices during a given period of time. So here we can see in first case it's 5 plus 6 equals to 11. So this is known as market demand. So in this table also we can see that when the price rises, the demand tends to fall and vice versa. Both individual and market demand schedule denotes an inverse functional relationship between the price of the commodity and the quantity demanded of a commodity. Now in this case we have seen only the two buyers in the market. This is just an assumption which has been taken here. Now let's see the demand curve. Demand curve is basically a graphical representation of the demand schedule or the demand function. Demand curve for any commodity can be drawn by plotting each combination of price and demand on a graph. So here on the left hand side we can see that there is a demand schedule. On OX-axis quantity demand is shown, whereas on OY-axis, that is price in rupees per kg, is shown. So this demand curve slopes downward from left to right, indicating the negative relationship or the inverse relationship between the price and the quantity demanded of a commodity. Now let's see how this demand curve is being drawn. So here we go ahead with all these steps. The very first step is draw x-axis. Second step is draw y-axis and name them. On OX-axis, write quantity demanded of the commodity, whereas on y-axis you can notify that it's the price of commodity. All the monetary measurements are to be taken on the vertical axis, that is the y-axis. Now when the price is ₹5, the consumer is demanding 1 kg of sugar. Now as the price goes down from ₹5 to ₹4, consumer is demanding 2 kgs. Now here we can see when the price falls, the demand increases. That is, when the price is ₹5, he is demanding 1 kg, whereas when the price moves down from or decreases from ₹5 to ₹4 per kg, he has increased his consumption, or we can say he has increased his quantity demanded. Likewise, when the price again decreases from ₹4 to ₹3, then we can see that he is demanding 3 kgs per week. Now after plotting all the points, you need to join a downward sloping line which slopes downward from left to right, indicating the inverse relationship between the quantity demanded of a commodity and the price. Thereafter you can name it as a DD, that shows the demand curve. So this was regarding the demand schedule and the demand curve. Now we are moving to the another heading, that is the exceptions to the law of demand. Basically we have seen that law of demand expresses the inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded of a commodity. It is generally valid in most of the situations, but there are some situations under which there may be direct relationship between price and quantity demanded of a commodity. Now these are known as exceptions to the law of demand, and such exceptions you can see in this chart. The very first exception we are going to see, it's the Giffen rules. Now in some cases demand for a commodity falls when its price falls and vice versa. Let us say in case of inferior goods like jowar, bajra, cheap bread, etc. They are called as Giffen goods. They are known as Giffen goods only after it's being discovered by Sir Robert Giffen. So when the price of such inferior good falls, less quantity is being purchased, because we have seen that the consumers increase preference for superior commodity with the rise in their real income. That means consumer is having the necessary increased preference for superior commodity, so he will go with the superior commodity rather than buying the inferior goods, because he is having a necessary purchasing power. So he will go for superior goods and he will not purchase the inferior goods. Hence, other things being equal, if the price of Giffen goods fall, its demand also falls. Now here we can see that there is a positive price effect in this case. It means that the price also decreases, the demand also decreases. So now rather than downward sloping demand curve, we shall see the upward sloping demand curve in this case. Next is the conspicuous goods. Now, some consumers measures utility of a commodity by its price. That is, if the commodity is expensive, they think it has got more utility and vice versa. Therefore, they buy less at lower price and more of it at higher price. For example, diamonds, fancy cars, dining at 5 stars hotel, high price shoes, etc. Here, higher prices are the indicators of higher utilities. A higher price means higher prestige value and higher appeal, and vice versa. Thus, a fall in their price would lead to fall in their quantity demanded. Now, this is against the law of demand. Now, this was found out by Veblen in his doctrine of conspicuous consumption, and hence this effect is also known as Veblen effect or prestige effect. Another exception which we can see is the ignorance effect. Now, many a number of times households may demand larger quantity of a commodity even at higher prices because of ignorance about the ruling price of the commodity in the market. They are ignorant that what the prevailing price is going out in the market, so they purchase or they demand larger quantity of goods even at higher prices. Now this is also the exception to the law of demand, because here the law doesn't work. Next is the future change in price, or we can call it expectations about future changes in price. So now when the prices are rising, households tend to purchase larger quantities of the commodity out of fear that price may go up further and vice versa. This can be seen as an example like shares of a good company. Another exception in a queue is consumers' illusion. Now many consumers have a wrong illusion that the quality of a commodity also changes with the price change. A consumer may contract his demand with a fall in price and vice versa. This indicates that higher prices gives higher utility to them. So they are of the illusion that the quality is the determinant element, and thus they used to purchase more even at higher prices, or they may reduce their demand even with a fall in price. The next one is the irrational behavior of the consumer. At times, consumer makes impulsive purchase without any calculation about price and the usefulness of the product. In such cases also, the law of demand fails. That means the law of demand does not work. Even another example or another exception which we are having is the demand for necessary. Now the law of demand does not hold true in case of commodities which are necessities of life. Whatever may be the price changes, people have to consume the minimum quantities of necessary commodity. Example, rice, wheat, clothes, medicines, etc. So what we can see that the demand curve for above exception is positively sloped. It means after studying these exceptions to the law of demand, if one would like to draw the curve, then it will not be the downward sloping curve, like we have seen in the previous slides, but here we shall draw a curve which will be a upward sloping. Thank you so much.